Hello dear students, welcome back to the Pharma Learning channel. Today I am going to discuss how the formation of the crystals will take place into this video of theory of crystallization. As we know that the crystals are going to be formed from the amorphous material, and the crystallization basically involves the three stages. Number one, supersaturation, number two, nucleation, and the number three, crystal growth. Let's try to understand how the crystal formation take place in each of these three steps. Let's begin with the diagram, which will explain how the crystal formation take place, into which we require a solution which may be either saturated or the unsaturated, and this saturated or unsaturated solution can be converted into the supersaturated solution by the number of techniques will be there, either evaporation of the solvent or the cooling of the solution or the addition. This supersaturated solution further, either by the addition of a crystals or the breaking of the weak crystal, that is converted into the nuclei, and so that supersaturation is converted into the second step, which is known as nucleation. And after that, by the deposition and the diffusion of the particles on this nuclei, the crystal growth will take place, and we are getting the elegant, good shape, good flowability, and the good compressibility crystals. Now let's try to go into the further much more detail of the first step, which is known as the supersaturation. Into this supersaturation, as we know that we are taking a solvent into which we are adding the solute, and if the solute is lower than the solubility of the solute in that particular solvent, it is known as the unsaturated solution. Into this unsaturated solution, if we are going to add more of the solute, then it is going to convert into the saturated solution. And after this, once the solute are added into the definite proportion depending upon their solubility into the solvent, then furthermore solute cannot be added, so that solution is called as a saturated solution. And into this saturated solution, we by either of this technique, either by the stirring or by decreasing the temperature or by the evaporation of the solvent or the addition of the small amount of the same solute, we are going to convert this saturated solution into the supersaturated solution. Basically, the supersaturation solution is a must or it is a requirement for the formation of the crystals. This supersaturated solution basically becomes unstable, and into which the crystal formation take place. Now, one theory has been proposed by the Meyer and the Isaac for explaining the relationship between the supersaturation and the spontaneous crystallization. This theory basically highlights the two important points. The first, the first important point is that if there is a greater the degree of the supersaturation, there are the more chances of the nucleation and the more crystal formation will take place. Point number two, the supersaturation passes a certain range of value where and after which the nuclear formation is very rapid. Let's try to understand this Meyer's theory by the Meyer's solubility curve. Basically, the Meyer's solubility curve is a curve of concentration versus the temperature, as shown in the diagram or the figure, that is shown by the solubility of a solute, which has been shown by a solubility curve, which is shown from the curve A to B, that's curve AB, that basically indicate the solubility curve of a solute in a particular solvent. Now let's take any point on this curve, that is point C, and from the point C we are going for the decreasing the temperature, then it will touch to the curve FG at the point D. Generally the curve FG, it is known as a super solubility curve. So from the point C to the point D, when we are decreasing the temperature, when it reaches to the point D, then the nuclei formation starts, or what we can say the nucleation, that is the second step start. So here what we are doing from the point C, from the point D, we are going for the achieving the supersaturation by the cooling. After that, from the point D, when the nucleation start, and slowly the crystals will be formed, and once the crystal will be formed, the concentration into the solution will decrease and it will touch again back to the solubility curve at the point E will be there. So basically I can say that when it is a point D, the nucleation formation starts, and once it is going from the line D to A, the crystal formation will take place. So we can say that the crystal formation basically is not taking place into the region of D, not taking place into the region of D to D, but it is taking place anywhere between this both the curve, that is the solubility curve and the super solubility curve. So here the Mears theory we highlight that any point between the C and the point D, the nuclei cannot be formed and crystallization cannot be starts. Now there are the certain limitations associated with this Mears super saturation theory. The first theory is that the crystallization starts around the solubility curve, but the general tendency is that crystallization take place into the area that is present between the solubility and the super solubility curve rather than a line. The another limitation, if the solution is kept for a longer time, what it means, if we are keeping a solution for a longer time, then nuclei start as such well below the super solubility curve. Even if the solution is available in a larger volume, again the nucleation will start and that will lead to the crystal formation below the super solubility curve. This theory is applicable only when the solute and the solvent are in the pure state, that is 100% purity, no impurity. Practically, it is impossible to get them in the pure state, and during the crystallization, again the solution may be contaminated either with the dust particle or the particles come from the container, and then it will initiate the nucleation, and which may lead to the crystallization. So up till now, we try to understand the first step of the crystal formation, that is called as supersaturation. Now let's try to understand once the supersaturation solution is formed, how the nucleation will take place. As the name suggests, the nucleus is a process of nuclei formation. Now what will happen in the solution? You are finding that either solute particles or the molecules of the ion, that they are in the constant random motion. They are thermodynamically unstable. So these solid particles are going to be colored with each other or the one another, and they are trying to form the aggregates. And they are trying to form the aggregates which is shown into the diagram, which are known as the clusters, and the clusters are going to be the loose one. The cluster, again by the addition of the more solid particles, they will try to form the embryo, and these embryo are the bigger in the size. They are the bodies of the aggregates of the solid particles, and this embryo can be again converted back into the cluster depending upon the thermodynamic energy of that embryo and the cluster system, and try to become stable. But later on, the embryos, they are the bigger in the size, they are the more unstable, and they will try to convert them into the crystals once they are going to be remain stable. So if they become thermodynamically stable, the thermodynamic equilibrium can be achieved with respect to a solution, and they will be converted to crystals, and these crystals are known as a nucleus. So this one crystal which is on the smaller in the size, that is called as a crystals, or that embryo will be converted into a crystal. Once the embryo will be converted into crystals, the embryo are not going to be converted back into the clusters because they are thermodynamically stable. Now let's try to understand the type of nucleation. Basically, there are the two types of nucleation. One that is a primary, another one is a secondary. If you look at the primary nucleation, then the primary nucleation, depending upon the solid particles involved in the process of nucleation, they are of the two types. That may be the homogeneous or the heterogeneous. In the case of homogeneous, the solid nuclei spontaneous from within the cool phase. What it means, the solid particles which are present from which the solution is formed, that particles are responsible for the nucleation, then it is called as a homogeneous. But apart from that, if either any impurity particles or the particles which are coming from the container walls, if they form the nucleation, then it is called as a heterogeneous nucleation. The second type of the nucleation, that's called as secondary nucleation. I can say the secondary nucleation is a forced nucleation, into which we are trying to generate the nuclei into the supersaturated solution by the addition of the crystals. Either the seed crystals may be of the same solute from which the solution has been formed, or it may be different. But in the case of secondary nuclei, we require the lower supersaturation than the primary nucleation, because already the primary nuclei has been formed. The secondary nucleation has been formed due to the impact with either the agitator or the vessel wall, and they are also created by the striking a crystal too. So what we can say that the nucleation basically take place like a primary nucleation and the secondary nucleation. So the primary nucleation basically takes place with the same solid material or to the impurities or the particles which are coming from the container wall. But in the case of secondary nucleation is taking place due to the impact or the force which is generated due to the agitation and the or the vessel wall and striking with the primary nuclei. The third important step that is important in the crystallization, which is known as the crystal growth. This crystal growth is going to decide the size and the size distribution of the crystal. Basically, once the crystal has been formed at the end of the nucleation, then onto this crystals, if we find this outer layer that is called as a liquid layer that is surrounded by liquid, which is a stagnant layer. So what will happen from the bulk solution? Now again the solute particles start depositing or the diffusing onto this stagnant layer, and because of this these particles will try to deposit themselves into the stagnant layer and the crystal will try to grow. This particle try to organize themselves well into the crystal lattice depending upon the structure of the crystal, and this will try to grow. So what we can say that it's shown in the diagram, the crystal is at this crystal is showing at the end of the nucleation, and after the crystal growth it has been converted into the definite size and the size distribution. So into this video I try to highlight how the crystal formation take place into the three steps: supersaturation, followed by nucleation, followed by crystal growth. I also try to highlight the one of the important theory that is suggested for the supersaturation, that is a Meyer supersaturation theory. So by this you must be clear in your mind how the crystal formation take place or what is the theory which is involved behind the crystal formation. So if you like my video, please share my video, subscribe my channel for the next upcoming more videos of the crystallization and another new top lessons. Thank you.